Hey y'all, this is Inez Lehman with Keeping It Clean using the smear technique. Thought we'd do a really fun one today, lots of magic. And I was just sitting over there at my desk, and that's just where all the magic happens, over there at my desk. So I come up with lots of designs and just use pens and sketch them out. But let's put the magic on this canvas. We're gonna put some liquid black gesso right about here and make what looks like rhino horns just sticking out just right there on the sides, either side. And as y'all are ready, let's get started. And I have my Bob Ross black gesso. Need to buy some more of it, I'm almost out. And putting some on the palette here. Got a nice big palette. Don't use too much of the black gesso, but it does work really well. And just grab a 2-inch fine touch brush, really good for acrylics. Just a pretty cheap price too. I think they got a fair price, and you can get a whole set of 3. One really big one. I can't fit that one into the clean really. And I'm just gonna lay out those rhino horns right quick, right there. Those rhino horns. Right there. And let's see here. Probably wondering, why in the world are we doing this? What is going to happen? But I gotta get the black gesso here and put it onto the canvas and paint the rest of it black. Just leaving those 2 little spots white. Make sure it doesn't run to keep it clean. And just putting the rest of it on the canvas, smearing the rest of it out really nice and thin. And just smearing it on there. Sides, in case you want to save the cost of framing. And I was just laying out another one. I thought we'd do something really interesting. Rhino horns, and I thought let's do the Congo. Let's do the Congo number 5. No, let's do the Congo. So the Congo is an area in Africa, country, that is a lot of rainforest. Thought we'd do a really nice rainforest. I got some special stuff laid out in some surprises in the foreground. Special things that we're gonna do. Some little fun things. Gonna make it from a different perspective. The perspective of a photographer. And he's peering in through the leaves. So it's going to be a real fun one. I'll show you how we do all of that. We're going to incorporate the wildlife as well as the floral brushes today. So if you have those, you might want to go ahead and get those out while I'm painting this. And I'm sure you can make some rhino horns on your canvas. I got a 16 by 20 today. And I have got to go to Hobby Lobby and get some more canvases. You can also get them at flit.com. They have good prices. You get a value pack. Or you can shop at Hobby Lobby and get them 1 by 1. I like that. I just like shopping at Hobby Lobby, but flit.com, they've got my sweet tooth on some things. Yeah, I have a sweet tooth. A sweet tooth for some soft pastels and things of that sort. Do all sorts of different videos, and if you care to do pastels or anything like that, maybe I have something on there that's just right for you. And maybe you got some ideas too. You got ideas? I'd love to hear them. All kinds of different things and different mediums out there. There's no limits to the imagination. So, doing the Congo Rainforest. How are we going to do a rainforest? Well, we did Hawaii. I don't know if you remember Hawaii, but you may have not caught that one. You have not seen that video. It is, let's see, we're going to cover it in purple. Cobalt violet, in fact. It's from Dollar Roundy Georgian Oils. I love how many different shades they have, and I just love colors. I love bright colors, vibrant colors, all different kinds of colors. Every different kind. And I just like to have a wide variety. It keeps my imagination going, I think. Set the palette down. And don't forget, you gotta pinch it on the side. You gotta pinch it on the side using your thumb and first finger to try and keep your finger clean. And you get a little fingerprint right there. It's not too bad. Some people like gloves. Some people like to wear plastic gloves. Not plastic gloves, but rubber gloves. Or just little disposable gloves. And latex gloves, just in case they get their hands dirty. Some people do have clean hands and they like to keep them clean, so this is keeping it clean. Good idea to wear those gloves, but I try to keep my hands out of paint as much as possible. And just touching up the bottom here. Just putting the liquid, the black acrylic everywhere, all over the canvas, except for those two white areas. We're leaving that white for now. I assure you it won't stay white. I'm going to change to different colors, all different colors, a whole menagerie of colors. There'll be a lot of different ones. It's a rainforest, silverback gorillas. In the mountains, they have different kinds of gorillas in Africa. They have the lowland gorilla. The lowland gorilla has the orange on the forehead and a lower forehead, and it's also smaller. They have the highland gorillas. Those are the real big guys. They stay way up high on the mountains, and they have a more prominent forehead, a very high forehead, and they just tend to be bigger because they're in colder temperatures. But that's all the story I've got for that. And I will be back as soon as paint dries. And don't forget to clean up your brushes. With acrylics, use water. I usually use a bucket. Let me see if I can grab that. And just put a little water in here, keep it out of the sink, and make sure you pour it in the yard, just in an area where you don't want too much grass, or maybe you got some weeds or something, the crabgrass, you don't want it in the yard, just pour it on that. And I'm gonna wash the palette off. What I do with the palette is I just take a paper towel, Scott blue paper towel, and I just wipe it off really quick. And just wipe that off while it's still wet, easy to dispose of. And it leaves a little mark. You can tell where I've got all my liquid acrylic black gesso from Bob Ross. I've got lots of it, but we use a lot of it to make magic. So I'll be back in a little while, and I'll see you in just a second. Okay, and we're back. Paint has dried, but I've already gone ahead and painted it with liquid clear from Bob Ross using a 1-inch Bob Ross landscaping brush. I painted everything liquid clear except for these two areas. I want to leave those white because I'm going to apply liquid white. But first, before you apply the liquid white, you need to get a nice blue paper towel, good Scott's blue paper towel, shop towel, and wipe it down really good. Don't want your painting to slide. It does that, and it just doesn't look good. It does not look good. So you just wipe it all off. Make sure you get all the area and try not to get the liquid clear onto the white areas while you're wiping it down. You're left without the liquid black, the acrylic black, Bob black gesso you painted. I'm gonna leave those areas open. I'm gonna put liquid white there. Maybe a little ahead of me. And wipe off the bottom. There we are. And wiping it off real good. There we are. Set that right there in case I need a paper towel. So let's get started with the colors. I've got the Ivory Black from Dollar Rowney Georgian Oils. I like Dollar Rowney Georgian Oils because they all have different hues, so many different hues. This is Van Dyke Brown. And the Cobalt Violet that will be painting most of the area purple. Gonna be interesting. And the Primary Cyan for blue. But they have a wide array of colors. All different kinds for the imagination. A blue-gray. Paint the sky a nice blue-gray. And then we have Sap Green. And Pyrrole Red. And Cadmium Yellow Deep Hue. You want to make sure you have the deep hue because it's a nice rich yellow. And you want to probably have that in 2 spots on your palette. That way it won't carry over colors too much. And I have them laid out in my color order right here on the palette, in the order in which I named them. Got paint on my finger. Had to wipe it off on an old towel for just a second. Okay, so here we are. Gonna go right into the Cobalt Violet. Put that on both sides of the brush. 1-inch landscaping brush. You can use the same one that you use for liquid clear. And I have some rainforest areas all around. Just all around. It's gonna be really pretty. Paint the middle. All purple. Try not to get it on the white. And get it all within the black if you can. Really nice color of purple. There we are. And just putting the Cobalt Violet onto the canvas. Thinking about the Congo in Africa. They have all kinds. Different wildlife there. Gorillas. I told you they had lowland gorillas. They're smaller. Coco. I don't know if you heard of Coco. Coco was the gorilla that could talk and learn American Sign Language. Very smart. Very smart. You can tell they're almost human. They're just about like us. And they should be saved just like we should. Save lives. Save their sweet little lives. But she was very strong. She was a lowland gorilla. I believe the highland gorillas are a little bit more aggressive. So she learned American Sign Language and learned to communicate that way. She could talk about all kinds of things. I forgot what the cat's name was, but she had a cat. And my mother is deaf as well. She doesn't know American Sign Language, but that's pretty interesting about her though. She didn't learn American Sign Language. She just learned to talk. She learned to read lips. And she's very smart. You wouldn't believe how smart a person can be and just never have heard anything. Kind of like perception and visualization for people who have a bit of color blindness. You want to leave an area right here for your waterfall. And you're gonna make a waterfall right here, so just bring that straight down. But, excuse me, if you see your brush strokes, right there. You can see them, and you can lay out the areas that you want to be a tree. You can watch the direction in which your brush strokes go. You can watch where your brush strokes are. And I'm gonna have a rainforest surrounding a waterfall. It just drops off. It's just right there. And paint the color on the edges here. And make sure I've got full coverage of all of that right there. But just leave a small area open in the middle, the lower bottom, for your waterfall and the river. If you want to pinch it at the side using your thumb and first finger, and just touch it up. That way you don't have to frame. You don't have to frame them unless you really want to. Even if you do, it's good to have the sides and everything painted. That way if they ever come out of the frame, you can still display them. And this is going to be from a different perspective too. I told you it's going to be different from a perspective of a photographer. So, I pick up my palette and get started on those mountains and the rainforest. I have the number 6 Bob Ross fan, landscaping fan, and I'm just gonna go right into cadmium yellow deep hue. You see I've got 2 different spots of it on there. Make sure that you keep some of your colors separate. That way it won't intermingle too much. And you just play with it and just see what different colors you can watch arise from different areas. Feel like you need some vines or something hanging right here. No, I want my vines over here, I think. Yeah. I want my vines right there. Touching up the sides. Into a little more cadmium yellow. Little areas here to just break up the white. Just little areas into the white. Where it breaks that up. But there are all sorts of things in the rainforest. Over to the other side. And just adding some more of that rainforest right up here. Just the rainforest trees, just move your brush around all different ways. Some over the white, just in little spots. And there are just lots of little things in here. All kinds of things. And some nice little chunks there. Okay. So I have a little more I'm wanting to do in the background, just for right now. So I'm gonna add a little sap green with the 1-inch Bob Ross landscaping brush. Just get one side, and the other. Just loading it on both sides. And I want some vines through here, so I'm gonna lay some sap green down on top of the purple. And just vines just hanging here, just all down. I'm just wiggling it down. Lots of vines. Just hang everywhere. And there's some here. A little more sap green. And right there. And just having a bit more there. And just hanging down right there. And just shape out your mountain. shape out how you want that mountain to be. You sort of have to think in reverse while you're painting. And it just goes up and around. So you want those vines to hang just on the outline of your mountain. And we'll color the mountain in just a second. Right here. And some more green. It's off to the side. Right here. Excuse me. And we want to pick up that brush that we used into the yellow, cadmium yellow DPU, just the same brush. You can go into the same cadmium yellow, but I might want to add a touch of white here, a little touch of titanium white, just to brighten it up so that you see where the mountain is. And I'll lay out that shape. And my waterfall starts here, so it just sort of drops off. I want my mountain to be a little lower, right through here, just right around in there. And it's got a big peak, just an area off in the mist. You don't have to shade in the whole part. You don't have to shade in the whole thing, but it just gets that foreground of the mountain. And we'll put some more in the background. I know that's probably bugging you, but we'll do all kinds of stuff there. But there are trees, so many trees, that a fan brush works really well. In fact, a number 3 would probably work really good too. Number 3 fan brush, if you want to try that. But it just, as it comes down, there's less and less highlights. Because there's less, there's more and more that you do see. Sort of vanishes off into the horizon. And excuse me. And just adding a few touches there at the bottom. There's my mountain. It's a nice mountain. That doesn't look too bad at all. That looks pretty nice. I like that. That's good. And just touching it up a little around the areas where I want to stop at that mountain. One more color that I've got, and I want to lay out for some little magic, is some primary cyan. Just using a Bob Ross 1-inch landscaping brush, 1-inch Bob Ross landscaping brush, and you just want to take that area where you got that waterfall, and you want to pull it back. But it's going to fall right there, so it may actually be helpful if you put the brush strokes going in that direction and just stop. Pull in that direction and then just stop. Keep going. Because that's where all of the misty clouds and mist and steam of the rainforest is just so hot. I don't see how people do that. It's so hot. And that looks all right. I think I'm good with that. Set that brush down. Grab a Bob Ross 1-inch landscaping brush, and we go into the blue-gray. This is going to be a little tricky since I laid my vines out. I just want to dust the area with the paintbrush. Maybe those vines hanging off has flowers. Maybe they're yellow. Maybe the mountains in the background are a bit more green. Maybe there's a large peak just standing up, just right there. You want to pull toward the center as you get at the edge. That way you don't have purple everywhere. You don't have your cobalt violet everywhere. So I'll go right up in there. But if you get some of it, that's okay, because we'll be doing some mountains on the side. Just try to make that work. Any little mistake, you can make it into a mountain, or you can make it into something nice, or you can make it into a mountain. So, just getting the edge right there, and right here we go. Put that right along my edges. I'm covering up that vine. That's okay, I can do that. It's my own little painting, my own little world. Your own world. You can paint. You can do anything you want to do on canvas. And I try to keep it on canvas, to keep it clean. Just using the smear technique here in the corner. And just getting it on right on the edges. Right through here. Maybe there's a mountain back there. Maybe, oh, that's like that. Uh-oh. Did I do something I liked? Uh-oh, I did. Maybe there's a horizon right there. Maybe that's the horizon, just rising over the mountain. I'm gonna change everything just because of that. I'm gonna do all kinds of different stuff. My little vines here. I like that. That nice gold and purple color. Mountain in the background. The horizon just fading off. And I want to use a clean, dry number 6 fan landscaping brush. And I'm gonna make some of those vines look really nice. And go into the cadmium yellow deep hue that I haven't used for any purple. You have to watch your colors because it does change a little. And there are vines just hanging down everywhere. Just hanging down. It's a misty mountain. It's got all kinds of vines in the rainforest, and it's just hot. It's very hot. It's steamy, almost like it is here in Tennessee. Sometimes it does get that hot here. I wonder what they do, why it's so hot. But they wear blankets, though. I wonder if some of them, the Messiah, they wear blankets. I don't understand that one. I would like to know that. I'm just going to draw a few vine tracings through here with some white, just to show you where a vine or two is hanging. And they're just hanging all through there. Little vines just flowing down, hanging off. Just little vines. Like maybe they're little frogs hiding in there, or all different kinds of things. And if it looks a little brown, that's okay. You like that kind of woody color for the vines. More of the yellowish shade for the foliage. And they're a mess. You gotta make little squiggly lines everywhere. Just gotta wiggle the brush, get in there, get a little more titanium white on that one, and right there, and all the way down there. And they're just hanging vines from the trees. Lots of little frogs and things. And you've got to stop your vines at some point, though. You got to start making them look a little less like a whole grove of them, but they're everywhere. But that's not what we want to put in the painting, though. Maybe there are some in the background, just little streaks of them. And there's a few here. Get a script liner. Get a Bob Ross script liner. Go into some titanium white. And I just want to make some smaller vines on the edges of those. That way you really know what it is. You know that's a good vine. That's definitely a vine. Just little squiggly lines and just everywhere. Lots of little branches, and maybe they're off to the side, bordering your black. So you can make your black even if you got a shaky hand and you've laid your black down, and you laid it down, and you haven't got it in exactly the right line, or just something you don't like, and maybe outline a little, that's okay too. You can get a little out of line, and then just pull it back in, and then right there, pull it out. There are little vines hanging off everywhere. There's one that goes all the way down. There we are. I'm pretty happy with that. That's looking good. Hope y'all have a chance to make as many little vines as you want. The more vines you add, more detail, you're going to have a lot more fun. They're just vines hanging off all kinds of different places. Using the titanium white and just using the color that I have on the brush as it flows through the paint, changes the color somewhat. But that's actually what you want. You want the highlights. You want the highlights of that white area that you covered in the dusty blue, the blue-gray, excuse me. And you want that to just fade and carry on into the horizon. Right in there, maybe there's just one large hanging vine right there, and it's just all the way down to the ground. Maybe it goes up a tree or something, I'm not quite sure. And it goes down, and just pulling them down. They need to do some pruning in this rainforest, man. Some of y'all might have little gardens or something that they do pruning. That is quite a mess of vines. Yeah. Excuse me. Making some vines over here. Just making some nice little shapes to carry it across. Vines hanging everywhere. Just all over the place. All the way down. Maybe they're going up the tree. You want to add some more of that titanium white to the other side. Make sure you get some vines here and there so you get the idea of your layout. And use the top. There we are. Okay. I have enough vines on that side, I think. And there we go. One right here. Just a good one. Just right there. And it just carries on. There we are. And nice little area up top. Okay. So we want to lay down some Van Dyke brown and get the areas of those trunks. So we go into some Van Dyke brown using a filbert brush, Bob Ross filbert brush, landscaping filbert. Just load it onto both sides. And you barely want any light in this, so get just a little titanium white. Mostly Van Dyke brown and a little titanium white on one edge, one side of the filbert brush. And we're going to make some more vines up the trees. Get ahead. If you get ahead of me, you might want to do that. Just making all the trees, stumps, they're just everywhere. Get a little more of that Van Dyke brown. And it's just a woodsy area. I'm painting over some of my vines, but you don't have to do that. Maybe there's some darker areas you don't see. And touch up the side. That's a big tree. That is one gigantic tree. They get so big. Trees just get huge in the tropics. Gigantic. There's there's my sun coming through. So I got it on that side. And right through here. Nice there. Little area here. And there's my trunk of the tree just going up. But there's not much that you can see through the canopy in a rainforest, so you don't want to add too much high. And just right about there for that tree. And get some more titanium white and a little Van Dyke brown. Maybe this area over here has a little more sunlight. And I want that 2 trees in this one. Yeah, I want 2 trees. That's one right here. And you just pull it up, get a little brush of it, make it look lumpy. Because they don't ever grow straight. Rainforests, they just go every which way. Uh-oh. I lost my ivory black. My ivory black. Fell onto the drop cloth. So I really recommend that you keep a drop cloth. This is keeping it clean using the smear technique, and you gotta keep the floor clean, because that does happen sometimes. But that's why you want to buy a 6 foot by 6 foot. Well, you want to buy a roll of the drop cloth, plastic drop cloth that you can get for painters, and you just lay it on the floor, cut off a nice 6 foot by 6 foot section, lay it down before you start painting. Things like that do happen. And I'll beat that in just a second, but I'll set it down for right now. Okay, this is setting down my filberts, and I'm picking up a number 6 landscaping fan. Just want to continue those trees. Going into my cadmium yellow DPU. And make sure that you try to stay on your drop cloth. And maybe there's some more highlights through here. Maybe add little areas in your vines. Just hanging off little flowers or something. And there we are. Just touching up some of those trees, adding some vines areas where they have branches. Vines have branches too. All over the trees. And there we go. And maybe some upward touches. Just here and there, because they mostly grow down. And that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And just going into some more of the cadmium yellow DPU. Got most of that color off my brush, but I'm still using the purple. Gonna make some grassy areas right around it here. Moss. Some kind of moss or something. Just all around here. Areas of my river. Do you have any streams in the Congo? But man, they do have a lot of foliage on the ground. It's just covered with moss, leaves, all kinds of things. And there we are. And I want to leave that corner. I want to leave that corner right there. Maybe vary your shades throughout as well. I don't want to do that. And then go into some more cadmium yellow. Hit the other side. Watch out for where you drop that paint. And just make that mossy area carry right down to the edge of the waterfall, because they may not have streams or things like we do, creeks or anything. You call them creeks. They have a different word. They have a different word, different languages. There's so many languages in Africa. Africa has some of the most interesting dialects. There are so many. They mostly speak French, though. They do. They mostly speak French. That's mostly South Africa, where Nelson Mandela was. Nelson Mandela was a boxer. And he was also very famous for his politics. Very strong man. Very smart. And grab a number 3 landscaping brush. And go into some titanium white. We're going to get that river. We'll do that right away. That river is just flowing up, 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 up. And then it just curves down and off of your canvas. You just want to curve it there at the end. That way you get the idea that it's just going, flowing down. Just flowing. There we go. Really nice river. Okay. Set that one down. And I want to grab a floral brush. I want to grab a floral filbert. Floral filbert, just with a rounded tip. Go into some sap green. Sap green. Add both at both sides. And a little titanium white on one side. I'm going to make some leaves. I'm going to make some interesting things here. I'm going to make a little leaf. Just this, you'll see what I'm doing here from the perspective. And there's a leaf, one part of the leaf, and it's just like a regular leaf that you're adding from just a floral, just a regular Bob Ross floral. Or you can just make florals from what I make. You can do his and you can do mine. All different techniques, but there's just a floral, a leaf just right there, just peeking over the edge of the leaf. And make that nice flowing, the same direction. If you make them just all flow in the same direction from one vantage point, pull toward the tip. Make a nice leaf right there. And just so we get the idea, let's add a little stem here. And make a little stem with just that green on the floral brush. And somebody's just peeking over the leaves, just looking at them. And a little bit more of the low lights of that leaf. Okay, lay down that filbert. Got a little too much paint on it. And grab another floral filbert. This one's got a more of a pointed tip, more of an arrow tip. It's a pointed filbert. And just going into some sap green and a little titanium white, not much. And pull toward the center. Maybe that's a funny shaped leaf. Maybe you have a really odd looking leaf. A little more sap green there. I think I had too much titanium white. And put the vein right there so you can see where you're going with that. And right here, just add the edges. You can have a softer edge. You can have some little chips out of it where maybe an animal's taking a bite. Maybe he's taking a little bite right through there. Maybe it was some little ants or something. Some little caterpillar or something. And there we are. So I'm peering out over the leaves and I see the waterfall. So I like that. That looks all right. That looks okay. So let's grab a number 8 Bob Ross detailing wildlife finisher. And if you have paint on the floor, you can use it too. So you're up to know that. Okay. There's my black. There's my ivory black. And I got that on both sides of the brush, and I just want to make my nice gorilla. Maybe his head is right there. His head is right there, and he's just on all fours. He's curled up. Got a broad back. Got a really broad back. He's got a big stomach. He's got some legs there. And there he's got the other leg. And he's just standing right there. The arm, a nice little foot there. Maybe his arms need to be a bit longer. Yeah, they do. And he's curled up his fist. They're very muscular, very big. And we're gonna add some silver to his back because he's a silverback. He's a silverback. He's a special gorilla. He's been around for years. He has all types of family, and he carries up to his head just a touch. And there we are. And that's pretty much what you want to do for your wildlife there. And we want a number 6 landscaping fan. I'm gonna add some flowers to, be careful of your ivory black. I'm gonna add some flowers. Maybe little lines have some flowers on it. Maybe some of those are just hanging around. Maybe just here and there. You can put a frog or two. I don't feel like frogs today. I'm not going to do any frogs. And just touch that up. And you have some nice color. Maybe we want to add somewhere around his feet. Maybe he's eating flowers. They eat all different types of foliage, different leaves. And that's it. That's all I've got for now. I hope y'all have a great day and had a lot of fun with this one, and maybe I'll see you next time at Keeping It Clean using a smear technique.